I am Ashoka, once called Ashoka the Fierce, now remembered as Ashoka the Great. I was born around 304 BCE, a prince of the mighty Mauryan dynasty, grandson of Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of our empire. From my earliest days, ambition burned in my blood. I was not the first in line for the throne, but I was the one who seized it. Through determination, cunning, and, when needed, ruthless force, I carved a path through the tangled forest of royal politics. When my father Bindusara died, the empire trembled with faction and rivalry. I answered with steel. I seized the crown of Pataliputra, becoming emperor of one of the largest realms the world had yet seen, a domain stretching from the Himalayas to the Deccan, from Bengal to the lands beyond the Indus. Yet conquest was never sated. My most famous war, the campaign against Kalinga, was meant to be my crowning triumph. Kalinga was proud, free, and rich, a jewel not yet taken by my forebears. I marched with 100,000 soldiers. The rivers ran red. Corpses littered the fields, and the cries of the bereaved haunted my sleep. When the final city fell, I stood on the broken battlements, staring out over the smoldering ruins. Victory tasted of ash. In the screams of the widows, in the weeping of orphans, I heard the death of my own soul. There, amid the smoking fields of Kalinga, a transformation began within me, slow, painful, inevitable. No priest, no advisor could ease the weight on my spirit. I turned inward, searching for a path beyond blood. It was the Dharma, the law of righteousness, that offered salvation. Not long after, I gathered my court in the great hall of Pataliputra. The air was heavy with incense. Torches cast flickering light on the golden lion banners. Before my generals, ministers, and nobles, I stood not in royal splendor, but in simple white robes, a lotus embroidered over my heart. My lords and ministers, I declared, my voice steady. Today I cast down the sword that built this empire. Shock rippled through the chamber. Some muttered in disbelief. The general of my northern armies, scarred and battle-hardened, dared step forward. My lord, he asked, voice trembling, how can we preserve the empire without the sword? I looked into his eyes and spoke softly. We preserve it not through terror, but through justice. Not through the slaughter of the innocent, but through the flowering of compassion. Henceforth, conquest shall be by Dharma alone. The decree was written in stone, and in the memory of the world. I became a pilgrim rather than a conqueror. I traveled the empire not with armies, but with the wind of good deeds at my back. At Sanchi, I walked among the builders of the great stupa. The air was thick with dust, the songs of masons blending with the prayers of monks. A great dome rose slowly from the earth, crowned with a parasol reaching toward the heavens. Scenes of the Buddha's life were lovingly carved into stone gateways. His birth under the sal tree, his enlightenment beneath the Bodhi tree, his first teaching at the deer park. I wandered among the workers unnoticed at first. Children played near carts heavy with stone. Old men taught young apprentices to chisel curves softer than the morning mist. A young monk, his robes dusty and torn, approached and bowed low. Emperor, he asked shyly, is it true that you have abandoned war? I smiled and placed a hand on his bowed head. Yes, I said. This, I gestured to the rising stupa, is my conquest now. Not the taking of lives, but the nurturing of souls. Tears welled in the boy's eyes. He pressed his forehead to the ground. I lifted him gently. In the realm of Dharma, I whispered, we are all brothers. I commissioned thousands of stupas and edicts across the land, carved into stone pillars crowned with lions, standing proud against the sky. I sent emissaries to distant lands, to Sri Lanka, to the Hellenistic kingdoms of the West, carrying messages of peace, tolerance, and the teachings of the Buddha. Beneath my rule, Buddhism flourished alongside Hinduism and Jainism. I protected all faiths, understanding that the roots of goodness spread in many directions. Yet even as I labored for peace, shadows lingered. Old generals muttered behind closed doors. Distant provinces chafed at the loss of glory and plunder. But I stayed the course. I found solace walking the moonlit gardens of Pataliputra, reading ancient sutras, meditating beneath banyan trees whose roots brushed the earth like fingers of wisdom. Power, I learned, is a flame. It can warm or it can consume. And no conquest is greater than mastery of the self. In the twilight of my life, my limbs weakened, but my spirit remained strong. One evening, knowing my time neared its end, I summoned my grandchildren to my side. The torches flickered, The air was thick with the fragrance of sandalwood. "My children," I said, my voice now a whisper, "remember, the sword wins battles. Dharma wins hearts. Build not merely cities of stone, but civilizations of compassion." They wept, but I smiled. I closed my eyes, not in fear, but in peace. For I had conquered not only the world, but myself. I am Ashoka the Great. Let the stone pillars bear witness. Let the stupa domes kiss the sky. Let the whispers of the wind carry my true legacy. A world where compassion is mightier than the sword.